Alright guys, and welcome back to another Dayz tutorial. So, a few days ago, I covered a mod called Loot Spawn Blocks, which basically, you place these blocks down in Editor or on your server, which gives you custom loot positions. Now, that video, I showed you how to use the Dayz Editor. And I mentioned you can also use the VPP Admin Tools mod, which this is what this video is going to be. So I'm going to show you how you can place these blocks down using VPP Admin Tools. But the first part is going to be with VPP Admin Tools, but you are still going to need to go into the editor and export a file and then put that in your server. I will go over it. I'm not going to go too much into detail when it comes to the editor side of things, just because I've already shown that. I will cover what you need to do. Also, in the description box, there will be a link to that video. If I remember, I'll try and put like a little timestamp thing or whatever it is, a thing that you can click on during the video in one of the top corners. I think it's the top right corner. That's if I remember. If not, there will be links in the description so you can go and watch that. Also, even though everything worked in the last video, I've been speaking to the guy that made the mod again, and he's briefed me up on some things. One small mistake that I did, which I'm going to cover in this video, and he's also explained a couple of other things to me, which I want to show in this video too. Now, one of the things I'm going to cover in this video is going to be relevant now to where I'm going to place this loot block, and that is going to be on this little shelf here in this locker. Now, so first things first is go back and make sure you watch the other video, because we're going to be using the exact same mods that I got you to install on that video. But this time we're in game and we're going to open up our VPP Admin Tools admin menu, and we're going to go into Object Builder. Once we click on that, we're going to create a new building set, which is just here over to the right side of your screen. Click on that, and we're just going to click in this box, and we're going to give it a new name. Now we're at Altar, so I'm just going to call it Altar. I'm just going to call it Altar Locker. It doesn't really matter as long as you know what it's called. And then we're just going to click OK. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click in this box there, and we're going to click Yes. Now over on this left side, we're going to search for these blocks. But before I do, I almost forgot one important step. Using this method, what I'm about to show you, you're going to need to make sure on your server side you have loaded the Loot Spawn Blocks mod as a client. Last time I showed you, or I told you, you only needed to load it server side, which if you're not intended to use this method, that's fine. It can be done server side. But if you're intending to want to use VPP Admin Tools, you do need to make sure on your server the Loot Spawn Blocks mod is loaded client side. I would suggest to just leave it client side, because that way then you can use both methods. You don't have to think, oh sugar, I need to place some loot here, I want to do it in game, I need to go back and change how the mod's loaded. So I would suggest load the mod client side, and you're good to go. It does mean that other players will need to download the mod to load into your server, but yeah, it is what it is. It depends how you want to do things. So this method, make sure Loot Spawn Blocks mod is loaded client side. That's the only change really so far. Right, once you've done that, obviously carry on from this video from where I am now. So obviously create your new building set and make sure it's active with the tick. In this top left box here, search for land_SPW, and you've got all the blocks come up. Now again, it doesn't really matter what you use. I'm going to use the land spawn small tools block. So I'm just going to double click on that, and it's come up here on my screen. And I'm going to drag this. Now I'm going to put it, let me just click save edits for now. This is going to take some fiddling. When I was doing my test, it took me about 10 minutes to get this right. So I'm going to place this on this little small shelf here. And I'm going to try and place it so it doesn't actually stick out. And this is why I'm using a small one too. So if you are in a small space, make sure you do use a small block, and you try and make sure it doesn't stick out anywhere, because when you're running around the server, you can actually see the outline of the block. There is no collision, but you know, you will see the outline. So let me just quickly place this, and I'll be back once I've done. But to basically place it, so let me go back into object mode, click on the set, click yes, and then I'm going to click on that little square, so it's now blue, and I can drag it. I can use Alt and left mouse button to go up or down. And then once I've done that, once I've got it set to where I want it to, I can also go into it, double click on that blue square, and it brings up this box, so I can do fine adjustments. You see, as I'm typing each number, this is kind of moving the block. So this X is coming. Oh, I clicked in the wrong thing. It's going like back or forth kind of thing, towards me or away from me, where the Y is going more sort of left to right. You can, okay, but you may not need that. You can usually just click on it, drag it, and you can kind of do fine adjustments this way. So let me just place this, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so we've got it placed. We can see, well, you can't see, but you can see it's there. We've got the blue box for it. There will be, when you place these blocks, there is like a black outline to them. Make sure when you place it, that black outline is below the surface that it's on. If it sticks up or out of a wall somewhere, you will see it as you're running around. There is no collision, but again, you will see it. So try and hide it as best you can. And like I said, I've rotated this block so it fits in the locker nicely. If I just press escape, I don't seem to see it at all. It seems to fit in there nicely. Right, if we go back to the object builder, we need to export this file. Now, I've already exported it, so I'm not going to do it, but make sure you click on the thing, warning, select another, will not say, but just click yes. Oh, hang on, right, okay, let me click it again, click yes, okay, and we're good. We'll make sure that's ticked just in case, but we want to export this file now. So I'm going to click on the pen, and is it envelope and pen symbol? I'm going to click on that, and we're going to click export raw, and it's going to say it's exported to VSTR tooltip export set, and click yes. Now I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. So what we then need to do, once you've done that, we're going to need to navigate to where your server is. So let me just click no for now, just because I've already done it. For you, click yes. So I'm going to close out of this. We now don't need to be in game. We're going to exit that, and we're going to find your server. So let me just go to my server. Actually, I've got it right here, to be fair. Right, and you want to navigate to. So find your profiles folder on your server. For some of you, it may be called config, or it may be called something different. But most of the time, you see the profiles are config. So find that folder, go into it, and you should have a VPP Admin Tools folder. Go into that. Inside there's a configurable plugins folder. Go into that. And then there's at the top, there's a build and set manager folder. Go into that. Right, once you're there, we've got the file that we've just exported, and it's a VPP file. Now, you're going to need to get this file and put it inside your editor mission folder, basically, because we're going to need to import this file, and we're going to need to export it as a map group pos file. Now, for me, because I've got a dedicated server, and when I use the editor, it's actually on my desktop. So I need to make sure I get this file onto my desktop. For you, if you're using a control panel, something like, I don't know, like a game panel thing like GTX, Nitrado, this will probably be all done on the same, like, the desktop, basically. So you probably can just use like a FTP program and upload and download to where you need to. But essentially, we're going to need to put this file into the editor missions folder. So for me, I'll just right click copy. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. Once I've copied it, I'm going to just go to my desktop. So we'll minimize the dedicated one. And on the desktop, I'm just going to click paste. And it's already there, so I'm not actually going to click paste, but I've already got it there. Now, like I said, we need to get this file into the editor mission folder. So I'm just going to click copy that file. We're going to navigate to basically your documents. I've already got a quick way here, but you're going to need to navigate to your documents, Dayz folder, and the editor. We don't need to actually go in the missions folder. We just need to put it in this location there. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. And you can see we've got the altarlocker.vpp file. Once we've done that, we're going to need to open up the editor. Now, I'm not going to show you me opening up the editor or going into it. If you've watched the first video, which I suggested earlier on, you'll know how to open up the editor. So go and watch that video if you've not done it. Links will be in the description. Yeah, so let me go and open up the editor and then I'll show you the next step, what we need to do. All right, so we've loaded into the editor. If we push, not Y, push spacebar, so we can move the mouse, we need to import that file. So go File, Import, and we want to import from VPP, and then we're going to find that VPP file that we just put in to the editor folder that I just showed you a second ago. Import. Loaded one object because that's where that is because we only placed one object in game. Then we're going to export this, and we need to export it as a map group pos. So we'll click on that, and I've already done this once, so I'm going to use the name that I've done. So I'm just going to click on altarlockerpos.xml. But if you scroll down on both of these bars there on the right, there's a box. Basically, this is normally empty. You can click here and you can give it a name. Oh, press the wrong thing. Right, yeah, you can click there and give it a name. But I am just going to find the file that we just created that I already did before. So I already did this off camera. I messed up a little bit up, so I'm redoing it again. But yeah, so give it a name. And I'll tell you what, no, we'll create a new name. So we're just going to call this. I keep pushing Y for that. Altar pos. I'm putting pos because I want to make sure I know this is the pos file. We're just going to call this altar pos. We don't need to put .xml, and then we'll click export. So that announces it's saved, but we've basically exported that file. And then just X out of the editor. We don't need to save nothing. Once we've imported the VPP file into editor and exported it, we can close out of it. Right. When this loads. So now what we need to do is we're going to need to go to server side. No, we're not. So we're going to need to go to your documents. Dayz Editor. Let's move this up here. And we're going to need to find that file that we created. So let me just delete this altar locker pos because that's the one I created before. So the one that we just did was altar pos. So I'm going to right click on that and edit with Notepad++. And it brings up the POS XML or the POS XML. Right. Now, all we really need is to copy this line. Like I said in the first video, if you've got more than one of these object tools that you placed, you'd copy each one. So if I had 3, like in the first video, I'd copy all 3. But what we can do to help you down the line, just to organise things a bit better, and again, you only need to do this if you really want to be organised, is in Notepad++, go to plugins, make sure you got the XML tools, and you get that by going to plugins admin, and you can search, like, I think you can just search tools. And in this list, it should take you to the XML tools. It's not in here for me because I've already got it installed. And then you'd click on it and then click install on the top right. Once you've done that, it should be in this list. And make sure you got them 5 things ticked. And that should give you this little button up the top here. This is comment selection. Oops, I clicked on it. I didn't mean to. So above this part here, above our object, our land spawn small tools object, we can say put altar, because this is our altar, and then you don't have to put space. I'm going to put space, and I'm going to put start, and then I'm going to highlight that, and then this little thing that I showed you just before, we're going to click on it, and it's going to put a little comment. And basically, the file's not going to read this. It's only going to read this. But we're going to put one at the end as well, and we'll call this altar end. Well, I like that. And do that. Now, again, it's only going to read this part. It's not going to read this, but this part is just basically making it a bit more organized and a bit more easier to find in the file if we need to get to it in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy them bits. Control C once you've highlighted it. And then we are going to navigate to our server side. Ooh, hang on 2 seconds. I'm trying to just drag it over. There we go. We're going to navigate to our map group pos XML. Now, again, I haven't really mentioned this video. If you're someone that needs to use FTP to upload and download files from your control panel, make sure you do that. I'm at least showing you the files and what you need to do, like what you need to work with. Now, it doesn't matter where you put it, you can put it at the top. I'm going to put it at the bottom. And I'm going to go, okay, it looks like I've already got a space here. But essentially what I'll do is go to the last line, press enter and make a space. And then I'm going to press Control V to copy that that map group pos file that we just exported. And what we can do is, I'm going to put a little space there. Tidy it up just so you can see it a little better. Oops. Something like that's fine. And if you want to, you can put a space there. Doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to have a space there. Now, the reason... Sorry, got a bubble in my throat. The reason why these bits can come in sort of handy is... Let me just file save that. Right, if I close out that file, I think, oh, sugar, I need to go back in there and I need to change something with that part. I can right-click, edit with Notepad++, doesn't matter at this stage. And I can press Control F and I can type alter, maybe start, and find next. And it's going to take me directly to that. Where if I, sorry guys, give me a second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So I've got a really bad throat at the minute. My voice is a bit weird. So yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so we can just type altar start and it will take me to that. If we haven't got these bits in and you wanted to find like this exactly, you're going to need to remember exactly what it's called. Whereas if you can remember, okay, I'm doing edit to altar, I can just search for altar. So these little tags can come in handy. And then anything that you place an altar in the future, you can search for this and then you can copy and you can paste in the other land spawn tools or whatever, like spawn tool block, sorry, they're blocks, land spawn blocks. You can place them in this section with inside the altar start and end. Right, anyway, I hope I kind of covered that for you to understand. But if we go file and then save, oh, we've already saved it before, but make sure you save the file. Right, we can close out of that. We need to remember as well, it was, if we go back into it, sorry, just edit, normal notepad. I can drag straight down, it's not too much. I want to copy this name. We're going to need that in a moment. Right, once I've copied it, we can close out of this, minimize this, and I'm just going to, that was the one from before. We're going to paste in that name that we just copied because we're going to need that. Now, if we go back to server side, find where your mods are installed, and we want to find the loot spawn blocks mod. Now, I'm going to cover it in this video, but I did cover it in the first video too. We're going to go inside it, going to find the extras folder, and then we're going to get the map group pro from here. We're going to edit this, and we're going to copy this. Just like so. Right, just copy that. Once we've got that copied, we are then going to go back to our server, go to your MP mission folder, your actual server, and then mapgroupproto.xml, and we'll edit that. Now, underneath the defaults tag at the top, or near the top, we're going to paste in that we just copied. Just like so. And I'll put a little space there just so it's a bit, maybe a double space, just so it's a bit easy to see what we're working with. Right. And then these are like the default kind of templates that you get, which is included in the mod folder. And it's got all the exact point positions or spawn positions for each item where it should spawn at. Now, one thing I did a mistake in the first video is I copied a large block, and then I edited that with a I think it was a medium close block, but I actually copied the 2 positions that you get for the large block onto the medium one, and that was kind of wrong. It worked, but it was giving me the wrong position for the item to spawn at. So because we are working with a small tool block, or just a small block in general, we're going to copy the small block here. So you need to make sure you copy the right template for the right thing so you get the right position. We're going to copy the small one. So again, I'm not going to copy the medium one because we didn't use a medium block. I'm going to copy the small one. So that part there that you can see highlighted, I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to go underneath the large one here, underneath the group tag, push enter, Control V, and we've copied in the small one. So now we need to change this name to what it was. And I think it was just tools, right? Land spawn small tool. So I know how to spell that and I can remember that. So I'm just going to do it there, but we will, let's just file save. We will, of course, make sure land spawn small tools, small t. Yep, that's fine. So make sure it's exactly spelled as it should be, as you've copied it or exported it. Now, you know what? I'm going to keep the username collectibles. This block is only going to have tools. Now, I think there can be some collectibles, depending on what mod you have installed. There can be probably some collectibles that can be classed as a tool. So I'm going to keep collectibles. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a load of other users' names in there. And to do that, if we move this to one side, we're going to find the CFG limits definition. We're going to open this up. And we're going to copy a load of the users' names. Now, I'm going to just copy down to office, I think. Now, I could be wrong, and I probably am. I don't think there's any tools that have any of these other usernames. Maybe in school and prison. Maybe a pencil will be classed as a tool. I know that will have like a username of school. Maybe handcuffs and keys. So you know what? Let's copy all the way down to prison. I don't think there's nothing else there. But again, you can copy all these users' names if you want, or you can mess with them and only find out which ones does for which item and add in only what you want. We're just going to copy all them usernames because I think with most of these usernames, there's at least a tool for them. So, copy them. Go back to the other file. Actually, I've got too many open. Right, this one it is. Go back to this, and I'm going to paste it under the collectibles. And if you want to put it in a nice, neat line, as I say, go ahead. I'm just going to leave it as that. That'll be fine. Right, next thing we need to do is the category names. So I only want tools, so I'm going to delete the rest of them. Like so. Oh, went a bit too far. If we do delete it to there, like so. Right. So we just kept the category name tools because that's all that we want to spawn at this specific location. Right, tag name of floor. It is on a shelf. Now, I'm going to keep the tag name floor because there are some items that are classed as a tool, but they and that they have a tag name of floor. But also at the same time, there's loot that has a tag name of shelves. So I'm going to add that in. So we're going to go back to the same limit definition file. And I know how to spell it, but I'm just going to copy it so I don't make a mistake. I'm going to copy the tag name shelves. And then back to this file, which is the map group proto XML. And underneath the tag name floor, I mean, you can put it above floor if you want to. doesn't really matter. And we're going to add that there. Now, we could generally take floor off, but again, there is some loot that's got a tag name of floor. So I kind of want anything tool that is going to fit in that locker, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. I want anything that's tool that's going to fit on that little shelf to spawn there. Right, once we've done that, next thing we want to mess with is this point position. Now, I didn't cover this in the first video because I wasn't fully sure how it worked. But you can basically set, I guess, a radius of what sort of size object you want to spawn there. So basically, we've got a range and we got height. Now, this is kind of like, I think like a spear, like a cylinder kind of radius. So basically, the bigger we have this range, the bigger the object can spawn there. Now, typically, if you're in a sort of open space, maybe like a bed or like a desk, where you can have like a gun or a backpack or a vest, some of them items can be quite big. So you can probably set this like mostly a range of say 50. So you can see up here, we've got 50 to 2 meters. So this is probably kind of like a default thing. So you can mess with the range. You don't need to go more than 2 meters. I don't think. You can go less than the range if you want to, but I'll probably keep it like that. But because this is a locker with a small shelf, I want the value small. So in this block that we placed, I'm going to change this range to 10. So something like a matchbox or a box of ammo, box of nails, they're quite small. So we just want it to have a range of like, this is like what, 10 centimeters, I guess you can call it. You can kind of go a bit bigger if you want to. I don't think you need to go any smaller, but you can go a bit bigger if you want to, like say 15. And the range is basically, think of it as like the ground area. So if this is on the shelf, this is like the area on the shelf that it can cover, where the height is top to bottom. And we're going to make this smaller. And we're going to put this as 0. We'll put it as 0.30. So that should cover anything like a box of ammo, box of nails. I'm just trying to think now. Screwdrivers and stuff, I think that should cover. I tell you what, we're going to put it to 0.40. Just to cover some of the, not big tools, but the slightly bigger tools. Maybe things like a hammer. I'm not sure kind of what size that is, but maybe something slightly bigger that could still fit in that. I may find that I need to make this 0.30 or somewhat smaller than 0.40. I could probably find I could probably make it bigger. Again, you're just messing around with these values, changing it, seeing what doesn't spawn, seeing what does spawn. If something spawns that's too big, you can lower the value. And the same again with this. Right, so we're going to put that there. That should be fine. And then we're going to file, save. Now, I believe I've done everything correctly. Users names, that should be fine. Yeah, that should be all good. And I've structured it all correctly from what I can tell. So we did save that, didn't we? Yes. So let me close out of this. And we're going to log back into my actual server. We're going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe my storage on my server because it's a test server on a cam. If you're on a live server and you don't really have the option of wiping, you might just have to kind of wait for the central loot economy to do its thing. Or you can also go in game and use your admin tools and you can delete loot that's in a radius. And that should kind of help a little bit. Anyway, let me log back in. Let me start my server up, wipe it first, and just so you can see me and wiping it just for proof. But for anyone that watches my videos, you will kind of know it is stopped. You'll know I don't really say things if I'm not going to do it. So let me delete that. I'm a honest man. So yeah, I'm a truthful person. So that's all gone. And start the server. Right, that will regenerate my storage folder back. As long as I've got no errors from my server and the server runs and starts fine, that storage folder will come back. It will just be a fresh storage folder. Right, anyway, let me wait for it to load up and then I'll be back in game and I'll show you there should be some loot at that location. Right, okay, we're just about to log in when it makes up its mind to do so. Right, there we go. Right, let's activate my admin tools. First off, change the weather. I really need to set the default changes in my actual files so it loads daytime each time. But right, teleport tools. Let's teleport to altar. And fingers crossed, we should have some loot there. Right. Yo, I don't know why this is still there. I've deleted it, but well. Right. Oh, and we do look. So, ignore that. That's default. That's normal. Up here, we got some codeine pills. And this is again why we put medic as a user's name. Because there are some tools that come under that category. But yeah, you can see that spawned on there nicely. And there we go. So if you're confused or stuck on anything, of course, join Discord. The link to it is on my YouTube channel. And I can help you with anything else. But yeah, just mess around with some of the values, like I said, so you get the loot that you want. But yeah, until next time, guys, have fun and peace out.